select Readers from the Operations, Access Control menu on the left. All readers that have been auto-discovered will be available for configuration. Notice that there is one reader listed for the HID device that was discovered in the system. However, for the Mercury 1502 that we have been using for this module, you will see 2 readers listed. Because this is a 2-reader controller, 2 readers are automatically populated in the list. Select the first reader on the Mercury 1502. To begin the configuration of the reader, enter a user-friendly name for the reader. For example, Main Office or Front Entry Reader. For auto-discovered devices, the reader interface name and access controller type will be populated automatically. If adding a reader manually, these fields are required and must be entered manually. Optionally, use the description field to enter any useful information for system users. For example, the model or location of the reader. The reader style parameter is for informational purposes only. To set the reader style, select the arrow next to the drop-down box. The available options include mullion, switch plate and mini reader. Select the appropriate type to continue. Also for informational purposes, is the reader type. To change the reader type, select the arrow next to the drop-down box. The reader types that are available include Prox or Proximity, Prox plus Keypad, iClass, BioClass, and iClass plus Keypad. Select the appropriate type to continue. The reader-supported format should match the data format supported by the reader. While for information only, it is best practice to list accurate information for these devices. Currently, the only supported format is Weekend. For reader mode, your selection will depend on the reader type you selected above. To select a reader mode, click the arrow next to the drop-down box. Select a reader mode from the options available. Card only. Requires a card but does not accept or require a PIN code. Facility code adds another level of security in that only cards with a correct facility code programmed on their card will be granted access. Locked keeps the door locked at all times, ignoring all cards and pins. Finally, unlocked keeps the door unlocked at all times, enabling free ingress and egress. The reader model is optional but is recommended for informational purposes. The reader interface port should correspond to the reader port that the reader is connected to on the associated controller. Last but not least is the installer and install date as seen throughout the configuration of the other devices. Listing the installer and install date is recommended for tracking warranty information and the original system installer. Once all information has been entered, click Save to complete the configuration of the reader. In addition to the steps just covered, the HID readers also have an auxiliary output that can be configured. Click the HID 100 reader to review. Click the Auxiliary Output tab to continue. The HID readers have a single auxiliary output for which the configuration is minimal. The output port will be populated automatically. You will however need to provide a descriptive name to identify the device to be controlled via this output. The active time, in seconds, is the time the output will remain active or inactive, depending on the normal state chosen. The Enable drop-down allows you to disable the output when needed. Disabled is the default setting for unconfigured outputs. Finally, the normal state determines the idle state of the device. Normally open or normally closed. When all fields are configured, click on Save. Readers are automatically added to the system when a reader interface is discovered or manually added to the system. However, if necessary, a reader can be added by clicking Add on the reader configuration screen. As discussed previously, The majority of the fields on the Reader General Configuration tab are for informational purposes only. However, when adding a reader manually, you must provide the following information: reader name, reader interface type, access controller name, and reader interface port. Note that these fields are automatically populated for auto-discovered devices. For a detailed explanation of each field, please refer back to the original reader configuration covered earlier in this module. This completes the configuration of controllers, reader interfaces and readers. Now we can move on to the next section of this course. Doors. Please return to the Access Control playlist to continue with the next area of access control. Doors.